when was blood not thicker than water? In my family, I, Mark, was always the black sheep, the one who never quite fit the mold. My parents, traditional and focused on appearances, constantly pushed me towards a stable career path. My older brother, David, was their golden child. He was charming, athletic, and effortlessly followed every expectation, even when he quietly relied on their financial bailouts and connections to get by. I, on the other hand, was quiet, artistic, and stubbornly pursued a career as a freelance graphic designer, a path my family dismissed as playing on the computer. They constantly compared me to David, always highlighting my lack of ambition and unrealistic dreams. I mostly ignored their criticisms, pouring my heart into my design work. While they lauded David's seemingly successful corporate career, I was quietly building a robust portfolio and a loyal client base. There were years of struggle, ramen noodles, and late nights, but I persevered. I eventually landed a few major contracts, bought my own small apartment, and was finally financially independent. David, meanwhile, despite the family's constant praise, was quietly drowning in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and still relying on my parents for rent subsidies, a fact they conveniently overlooked or blamed on the economy. This past year, David had a severe health crisis. It was a sudden, debilitating autoimmune condition that required extensive, long-term treatment and specialized care. The medical bills quickly piled up, far exceeding what his insurance covered, and his ability to work was severely impacted. My parents, who had always presented an image of financial comfort, found themselves stretched thin, having already used a significant portion of their savings bailing David out of previous financial woes. That's when the call started. First, subtle hints from my mother about family sticking together. Then, increasingly direct demands from my father, culminating in a family meeting where they, along with David, explicitly asked me to contribute a significant portion of my savings to cover David's medical expenses. "You're doing so well now," my mother pleaded. "It's your turn to help your brother." My father added, "Family takes care of family, Mark. It's your duty." I sat there, calm but firm. I looked at each of them. "Do you remember?" I began, my voice steady. "When I needed help with my art school tuition, and you told me to get a real job and refused to co-sign a student loan? Do you remember when my first big client backed out, and I was facing eviction, and you told me to learn to manage my money, while you quietly paid off David's credit card debt?" I paused, letting the silence hang. "Do you remember when David actively spread rumors to my relatives that my early designs were stolen because he was jealous of a small local award I won?" Their faces were a mixture of shock and discomfort. "I built this life," I continued. "Every single penny, every success, from nothing, with no support from any of you. In fact, often with active discouragement and sabotage." I then stated, clearly, "I will not be contributing financially to David's medical bills." The room erupted. My mother burst into tears, calling me heartless. My father raged, accusing me of being selfish and ungrateful. David, pale and weak, looked genuinely shocked, as if he'd never truly considered how his actions had impacted me. The family gossip machine went into overdrive, painting me as a cold, cruel monster. But this time, something was different. A few extended family members, who had quietly witnessed years of the favoritism, started speaking up, sharing stories of how I'd been treated. The narrative started to shift. The family's public outcry only highlighted their own hypocrisy, their years of neglecting and undermining me while coddling David. David's medical expenses became a public burden for my parents, forcing them to sell assets they had always boasted about. The family's carefully constructed image of prosperity crumbled. My refusal, while painful, was a quiet, firm stand that finally exposed the true dynamics within our family. I continued to live my life, free from their expectations, knowing that sometimes the most powerful form of revenge is simply refusing to play their game anymore.